The school wanted to recognize students as individuals, not their achievements, as if the two had to be separated. The kids got their certificates weeks after early college application deadlines, just dropped onto their desks as if it was just another piece of paper. It's part of this agenda that's the dumbing down of America.
A Virginia mom outraged as a top local high school is accused of hiding students' academic achievements, even blocking them from including these honors on college applications, all in the name of equity. Fox News contributor Douglas Murray is here to react. Douglas, great to have you here. You know, Azra Nomani has been leading the fight. She broke this story, and yet here, delaying the recipient of the National Merit Awards cost these students from their college admissions chances. Your reaction?
Well, first of all, I know Azra Nomani a bit. She's a terrific journalist, a terrific mom, and a terrific American. And I'm so pleased that she's stuck onto this story about what's going on at Thomas Jefferson High. I mean, the first thing is perfectly clear, as she says in her reporting, why the school is doing this. They seem to believe that awarding some students effectively merit certificates might demoralize people who don't get them, that effectively you've got a kind of hierarchy. And if there's one thing we've got to avoid in 21st century America, it's any kind of hierarchy, any kind of putting that person above that person because of achievement. Well, you know, school is largely about achievement. And just because you might flunk it one year doesn't mean you will the next. But yeah, we have to have systems of gradation. We have to be able to do that. And as Azra Nomani says, what they're effectively doing is stepping back from that and saying, no, we'd like to look at the child as an individual in the round and not just on their achievements. Sorry, other people can do that, home can do that, but school, it's about your achievements.
You know, to your point, the school's saying it out loud, the quiet part out loud. We have a quote from Brandon Kosatka, Director of Student Services, obtained by the New York Post, saying this: "We want to recognize students for who they are as individuals, not focus on their achievements." So if little Johnny or Susie spends endless hours studying, preparing, and makes straight A's and qualifies for an award, we should not make that more valuable, perhaps, than the student who did it in the hard work.
It is also just worth taking a moment to reflect how far we've come in this country to this extent. This is Thomas Jefferson School we're talking about. We're talking about one of the smartest minds that the world, let alone his country, ever produced. A man who taught himself, as well as was taught, who taught himself an astonishing amount. He didn't do that because of just who he was as an individual. He did it through achievement. And if Mr. and Mrs. Jefferson Sr. had said, we want to look at little Thomas as an individual, not at his achievements, I'm not sure that there would ever have been a Thomas Jefferson, and there certainly wouldn't be a school named after him. You know, this country is built on people's achievements, not just on who they are as individuals, which is the modern speak for effectively, let's make sure everyone has prizes.
You know, that's such a salient point. Thomas Jefferson would be rolling in his grave, Douglas. But let me just ask you, why should people across the country care about this story in Virginia?
Well, because it's symptomatic of something that's happening across the country as a whole. As a whole in America today, there is this deep uncertainty among teachers, teacher unions, and everyone else in education. You know, they sort of seem to think that their job is to sort of create fully rounded political activists of some kind who have all the right opinions and sort of push the other stuff that they used to concentrate on to the side, to the extent that they think things like merit are bad. They think things like achievement are bad. They are effectively talking in the terms of political activists, not academic educators. So it does speak to this thing that we have across the whole country in schools and colleges. And this has to be turned on its head because America has to be competitive in the 21st century. To be competitive, we have to achieve. And that needs achievers.
You can bet this isn't happening in China. Douglas Murray, thank you very much for being here.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.